Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to, believe it or not, this is the second episode, the second segment, second series of, basically second episode in this, second segment, whatever you want to call it, in this series on what I call Sonic Comics Plus. Basically, in case you don't know about it, a little rundown. Sonic Comics Plus is basically where I talk about things going on in the comic books, as well as things going on in other comic book ventures as well. So let's not worry about it too much longer. Let's not waste it. So let's not waste any of your more time. Let's start out with the second episode. One of the topics a lot of people are talking about when it comes to the Sonic comics recently, and I've mentioned this in a previous video and all that, but I thought I'd just talk about it again, is the betrayals. Currently, Ian Flynn, as many of you know, is the head writer, and to many fans, he's basically using the same story or the same gimmick. Excuse me, I got a bit of the sniffles, but he's basically using the same gimmick, same story, if you will, almost every other issue. I mean, I did a video on this. You can see this on my channel. But basically, what it is that to many of the fans, it's like every other issue, we have some kind of betrayal or hints of a betrayal, or we have, friend against friend or something like that, freedom fighter against freedom fighter. And quite honestly, a lot of fans are saying they're getting sick of it. Honestly, I don't blame fans for voicing their opinions and saying they're getting sick of it. But here's the situation. Ian Flynn, whether you like the guy or not, is trying to create compelling issues. I mean, if you're new to the comic, put yourself in the shoes of people that might be new to the comic. They don't know what's going on, but if they see an issue which talks about betrayal, that might interest them. That might keep them coming back. So anyway, that's one of the things a lot of fans are sick and tired of always reading about, whether it's in the previews or not, and that is betrayal. A lot of people have been trying to guess, okay, who is this traitor, let's say Silver is talking about, or who could be a traitor and everything. Well, here's the thing about the betrayals. Yes, they could be legit. They could be a character that's written in somebody, I'm not going to name any names, but the writers could write in a character's like, oh man, why do we keep fighting this war? It's never going to end. What's the use? Might as well go serve the person we're facing and get something out of it. That's how sometimes betrayals are wrote, because maybe somebody's just sick and tired of fighting. The same battle over and over and over again. But then again, it could also be about power. Let's not forget, when Ken Penders wrote the book, he wrote some betrayals as well. One of them was Sleuth Doggy Dog. Sleuth Doggy Dog basically told Sally that the reason he had betrayed them is because Robotnik had promised him power and all the steaks he can eat, I guess. I don't know. But that's why Sleuth did what he did. He did it for power and all that. The same with Drago. He betrayed the wolf pack and the freedom fighters, and even Hershey the cat, for power. That's why they did it. That's why they wrote the characters in to do it, for power. Now ArchieComics.com has actually put down a list of who could be the betrayer in a future issue. This issue's preview is already up at certain sites, but they got this whole list from names like Sally, Bunny, Rotor, Tails is on there, Amy's on there, and then one name that stuck out to me was Dulcie. And usually when a comic company or a media company that works on a comic book or a television series, whether it's animated or live action, when they give you a list of certain characters of who could be being potential candidates as being the traitors, there's always that one name that sticks out to you, and usually half of the time that one name that sticks out to you that you haven't read about or you haven't heard of in a while usually ends up being the character that could be the traitor. Now, then again, we could be wrong. What if it's not the traitor? What if it's just to throw us off? You see, that's why places like Archie Comics do these things. That's why Ian Flynn probably but Ian Flynn, I'm not going to deny this. Ian Flynn had something to do with that list of potential candidates. We all know that. And to throw a name in there that we haven't heard about in a while could be a way of just throwing people off. I mean, all comic book companies have done that. All media outlets working on animated or live action series have done that. I mean, I'll give you an example. If you were new to Star Wars in the past 10 years, if you were new to it, okay, in the past 10 years, if you were new to Star Wars and you had never heard of or you never watched the last 3 movies, which were made in the 70s and 80s, if you never watched those, but you only watched the first 3, and you didn't know what the hell was going on, would you expect a young boy in the first one that grows up before our eyes to be the traitor? Even though some people might say it's not a good... Well, would you? Perhaps you would, because of course they had some scenes in there where they were very reluctant to let him be a Jedi or let him be a part of the council or stuff like that. But still, would you really expect that? When you first look at him, would you ever expect, well, maybe they're wrong? That. I know that probably doesn't make any sense, but if you were new to it and you didn't watch the last 3 movies made back in the 70s and 80s, didn't read up on any of the history, would you suspect a young person like Anakin to be the traitor? No, you wouldn't. But then again, as you get into the 3rd film and into the later part of the 2nd film and into the 3rd film, then you probably say, well, then you probably think, well, maybe he's going to be the traitor. But sometimes there's also those forceful betrayals. You see, the forceful betrayals, believe it or not, are written by writers, are something that comic book writers and writers of television shows and all that, live action, animated, whatever. Forceful betrayals are the kind where a character has no choice but to do something they don't want to do. So let's say, like with SBO, recently in Day and Dominion. SBO had no choice but to betray the Chaotix and the Freedom Fighters because of his loyalty to his clan. He was forced into doing it. He had no choice. The same could be said for other characters. Like let's take for example, the potential candidates. Why would they be betrayers? Let's take a look at, Dulcie. What if she's being forced to do something she doesn't want to do? Same thing. Those are the kind of betrayals that, you could betray somebody, but it'd be like, I'm sorry, I had no choice kind of deal betrayal. They're forcing me my hand. But then again, like I said earlier, there could be the betrayals for power. There could be the betrayals of like, this fight's hitting us nowhere. If I'm going to be part of this fight, I might as well go join the fight the person we're fighting against. Those are the kind of betrayals you got to look out for. But there's also could be the corrupt betrayals, the ones that happen from within. And one of the top candidates for that hasn't been listed, that a lot of people are thinking finally it's going to be revealed to be, is Hamlin. Now Hamlin, in case you don't know, back in the earlier issues when he was, in fact, you can look online, he was part of the Princess Sally, he was introduced in the Princess Sally 3-part miniseries. Hamlin was basically named one of the substitute freedom fighters. He was trained by Sally, later on named as one of the substitute freedom fighters, and then, really hasn't done much since. So you'd probably think now, being part of the council, he's very drunk with power. Maybe he wants that power from within. That's why a lot of people, including myself, look at him as a potential candidate for being a traitor. Same could be said for anybody else in that council. Some even are pointing out, some are even pointing out, that it could be Max himself, Maximilian Acorn, who could be the traitor. Because some are saying maybe he's, because let's not forget, let's go back to 179, issue 179. He was not happy about the fact that his son had basically given up a majority of the royal family's power to the people and to this council. Maybe he wants to do something about it. Heck, maybe Hamlin's in cahoots with him. Nobody really knows, but somebody brought up his name as one of the potential candidates, even though it's not listed. Same with Hamlin. His name's not listed, but a lot of fans probably see him as a traitor, or at least corrupt with power to be one. And then, like I mentioned in my review for 217, and in my opinions, there's also the personal betrayals. Bunny recently reunited with her Uncle Beauregard, and her Uncle Beauregard is telling her all these things as to why they had to do this, and yet the Sandblasters are telling Sonic something completely different, if not similar, but completely different. So you think, is this going to be one of those personal betrayals where Bunny loses a member of a family willingly to Dr. Eggman's Dark Egg Legion because of the past history with the royal family? We don't know. But there are those betrayals, and I think we might be looking at one. But anyway, that's why I believe Ian is doing so many of these betrayals. He's working something up to one big betrayal, one that's going to shake the foundation, I guess you could say, of comics, for the comic line to come. So, honestly, that is why we probably have too many betrayals in the book lately. Even though we don't like them, they're in there because Ian's probably setting up for something big. Who knows? Now, as far as our non-Sonic topic here in the second episode of Sonic Comics Plus, our non-topic here in this episode, tomorrow in DVD stores, in stores everywhere on DVD and Blu-ray, is the second Superman Batman movie, Apocalypse. This is also going to feature the animated feature-length debut in DC Universe films of Supergirl. Apparently the storyline goes, and I'm not trying to spoil anything, but apparently the storyline goes like this. Supergirl is, I guess, captured by Darkseid and corrupted into being this badass girl working for him. I never saw the trailer yet, but from what I've read on the information, it sounds good. And knowing DC Universe is a past reputation with these movies, it looks like it's going to be a good one in the long run. So that is something to look forward to, and that is the non-topic comic discussion there. Of course, it's going to be rated PG-13, but I thought I'd drop that here in the second episode of Sonic Comics Plus. Tell me what you think. I'll get back to you later. Peace out.